There comes a moment when you must choose. Rest like everyone else or rise beyond them. When the world slows, you ignite. When they retreat, you advance. Because greatness never sleeps in the heart of the relentless. If you're waiting for permission to stop, this is your wake-up call. Keep going. You were not made to quit. Welcome to Unlocking Wisdom. A channel shares powerful life lessons and soul awakening messages to help you connect with your true purpose and become who you were born to be. The fire that refuses to die. Let others rest. But you light your fire so fiercely the darkness trembles. You may feel weary. You may look around and see others stepping back, resting, taking their time, sitting in their comfort. You may feel that pull within you to join them, to slow down, to say to yourself, I deserve to rest too. And perhaps you do. But hear me now, and hear me with your soul. Not everyone is walking your path. Not everyone is carrying your calling. Not everyone was born to stand where you are destined to stand. And because of that, your path demands more from you, more hunger, more focus, more fire, and yes, even more sacrifice. That may not be fair, but fairness is not the currency of greatness. Destiny is. And destiny only deals with the brave. You weren't placed on this earth to mimic the pace of the crowd. You were born to rise above it. And to rise above it, you must be willing to move when they pause, to build when they rest, to press on when others press snooze. Because the calling on your life is not a gentle whisper, it's a roaring fire in your chest that refuses to die. It won't let you sleep when there's purpose waiting. It won't let you sit down when there's a mountain to climb. And you know it. That pull you feel every time you try to settle, it's not restlessness. It's your spirit reminding you that you were never meant to be average. The world will tell you that balance is everything, that hustle burns out the soul. But I'll tell you, this imbalance is the cost of transformation. You do not become extraordinary by giving equal time to ease and excellence. You become extraordinary by choosing your vision over your comfort. Again and again and again, until your vision becomes your comfort, until your greatness becomes your rest. And until then, every day that you keep going, especially when it's hard, is a day your future self will thank you for. But make no mistake, this isn't about working until you break. This is about listening to your spirit, tuning into your deeper knowing, and acting in full alignment with who you are meant to become. Because deep within you lives a warrior, a soul so ancient and so powerful. No amount of fatigue can extinguish its fire. You've felt it before, haven't you? That voice that rises when your back is against the wall. That energy that floods you when others say it's over. That knowing that no matter how tired your body may be, there's still something more in you. That's not adrenaline. That's not pressure. That's divine conviction. And it's time. You let it lead. Do not mistake temporary exhaustion for permanent limitation. Your soul does not run on sleep alone. It runs on meaning. And if your days feel heavy, ask yourself this: am I aligned with my mission? Or have I wandered into someone else's rhythm? Because once you find your rhythm, once you reconnect with that raw, burning purpose within, you'll find strength that sleep can't offer. You'll find joy in movement, peace in effort, and clarity in sacrifice. There's a fire that cannot be taught, cannot be trained, cannot be handed down. It must be awakened. And to awaken it, you must face yourself. Strip away the noise. Turn inward. Feel the weight of your own potential pressing against your skin like a storm begging to be unleashed. You are not broken, you are building. You are not behind, you are becoming. But the becoming demands everything from you. It demands discipline when others give in. It demands faith when others doubt. It demands action when fear grips your chest. Every great man who ever walked this earth had one thing in common: he kept going. When others stopped, he moved forward while others waited. He endured when others excused. And you, too, must choose that path, because no one is coming to do it for you. No one is waking up early for you. No one is chasing your dream for you. This journey is yours. And if you want what few have, You must become what few are willing to become, a relentless, unshakable, purpose-driven soul who walks into every storm with eyes wide open and says, I was made for this. You were not given your dreams by accident. They were assigned to you, breathed into you by something greater than you. And every time you ignore them, you feel the ache of disconnection. But every time you move toward them, even in the smallest way, you feel alive again. That's the evidence. That's your compass. Follow that aliveness. Let it burn through your fatigue. Let it dismantle your excuses. Let it carry you forward. And as you move, you'll find that everything changes, not just your results, but your being. You begin to think differently, speak differently, carry yourself with a weight that others notice, but few understand, because they didn't see the fire you walked through. They didn't see the nights you kept going when your heart was breaking. They didn't hear the voice inside you that said, keep going. You're closer than you think. The truth is, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need validation. You don't need a crowd cheering for you. You only need that quiet agreement between you and your higher self that no matter what happens, you will keep becoming. You will keep choosing growth. Keep choosing greatness. Keep choosing the harder path that leads to a deeper life. Let others rest. Let others wait. Let others pause. But you must move, not because you're better, but because you're chosen. And chosen ones don't wait for perfect timing. They create it. They rise before dawn. They lean into discomfort. They bleed for a future only they can see. And in that sacrifice, they find something more valuable than applause. They find themselves also. Here's your reminder. You are not tired. You are transforming. You are not lost. You are recalibrating. You are not failing. You are forming the foundation of a life that will shake the world. Do not give up, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Because the fire in you has only just begun to burn dot, and when the world finally wakes up, they won't ask where you went, they'll ask how you became. The discipline of becoming. The future does not belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most disciplined. There is a moment quiet and unremarkable when your destiny begins. It's not a loud explosion. It's not a public applause. It's a whisper inside your soul that says, I am no longer willing to live like this. And if you dare to listen, truly listen, you will never be the same again. The path of transformation doesn't begin with action. It begins with awakening, with the courageous decision to stop betraying the version of yourself you know you're meant to become. This moment right now is that decision. So listen carefully. The person you dream of becoming is already inside of you. But you must discipline yourself to bring them forth. Let others talk about potential. Let them make promises they never keep. You must become the living proof of what's possible when discipline and desire collide. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Discipline is the gatekeeper of it. Without discipline, your dreams stay locked behind the doors of someday. And someday is where dreams go to die. You do not need more inspiration. You do not need more motivation. What you need, what you've always needed, is the will to show up when it's hardest. To build when no one claps. To move when no one watches. To keep becoming, brick by brick, when even you can't yet see the final form. If greatness was comfortable, everyone would have it. If purpose was easy, the world would be full of fulfilled people. But it's not, because the price is high, and very few are willing to pay with their comfort, their excuses, their distractions. But you must, because the life you've been called to live requires a different version of you, not someday. Now, you must train yourself to move without mood. You must rewire your mind to no longer ask, do I feel like it? But instead to declare, this is what I do. This is who I am. Because discipline isn't about doing what you want, it's about doing what's required. And in the silence of your daily decisions, you become the architect of your future. Every choice, every habit, every morning you rise before the sun, these are not small moments. These are sacred acts of becoming. This is not just about productivity. This is about identity. You are not simply trying to do more. You are becoming someone who no longer negotiates with their greatness. The world is full of people who had potential, but very few become the person they were meant to be. Why? Because they didn't choose discipline, they chose delay. They chose pleasure over purpose. You must choose differently. When your alarm goes off, get up. When your doubt rises, move forward anyway. When you're tempted to settle, remember who you said you would become. Because every time you act in alignment with your higher self, you build trust in your own soul. You become unshakable. You stop relying on motivation. You start embodying transformation. You become a person who follows through regardless of feeling. Let this be clear. Discipline is a form of love. It is the highest form of self-respect. When you discipline yourself, you are saying to your dreams, you matter. I will show up for you. You are saying to your potential, I believe in you enough to protect you from my own weakness. That is not cruelty. That is devotion. You do not rise by accident. You rise because you refuse to sink. You refuse to let your emotions dictate your actions. You refuse to let your fear outrun your faith. You refuse to be the person who talks about change, but never lives it. Discipline makes you dangerous. It makes you resilient. It makes you unstoppable. There will be days when your mind tells you to quit. That's not a sign to stop, that's a signal to push. Because it is in that very resistance that you will find your next level. It is in that tension, in that inner fire, where you will meet the version of yourself you've been seeking. All along, the disciplined you, the grounded you, the leader, the warrior. The one who is no longer waiting for life to get easier, but who becomes stronger instead. You must no longer entertain the lie that you're too tired, too late, too far behind. That voice does not belong to you. That voice is fear in disguise. And you were not born of fear, you were forged in fire. You are not here to tiptoe through life. You are here to set it ablaze with purpose every morning. Ask yourself this: what kind of person am I becoming? Because if you don't answer that question with intention, life will answer it for you, and you may not like the result. Discipline gives you the steering wheel. It allows you to move from reaction to creation. And that is where transformation begins. This is your moment to claim it, to rise into it, to step beyond your former self and into the arena of mastery. And mastery is not a destination, it's a decision, made again and again, one deliberate act at a time. You are not building habits, you are building a new you. The version that no longer hides behind excuses. The version that walks boldly, even with trembling legs. The version that knows, I may be afraid, but I will not be ruled by fear. You don't need more time. You don't need more comfort. You need to remember who you are. You are someone who was born to lead, born to create, born to rise. But the rise is never automatic. It must be earned, with sweat, with sacrifice, with sleepless nights and relentless mornings, with silence, solitude, and soul-searching. That is where the real becoming happens. That is where discipline becomes. Devotion. Let others fall into routine. Let them chase distractions. Let them say, I'll start tomorrow. But you start now. Start here. Start with one bold decision to no longer abandon your future for temporary pleasure. This is not about perfection. This is about persistence. About waking up every day and saying, I will not stop, not today, not until I become who I was born to be. Because on the other side of your discipline is the life your heart longs for. The freedom, the power, the clarity. It is not a myth. It is real, and it is waiting for you to earn it. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Cross it. Walk it every day. And do not stop because you are becoming unstoppable. The war within. You cannot conquer the world until you first conquer the war within. There is a battlefield you walk through every day. It isn't outside of you. It's not found in other people's opinions or the obstacles the world throws. Your way. No, the fiercest war is waged within your own mind. Between the version of you that is terrified to let go, and the version of you that is begging to rise. This war is quiet, invisible, but it is constant and it is sacred. Because on this battlefield, your future is decided. Too many live their whole lives trying to control the world outside, trying to shape circumstances, people, outcomes, yet never realize that all true power begins from within. If you cannot rule over your thoughts, you will always be ruled by your fears. If you cannot master your emotions, they will master you. And if you do not win the war within, you will never taste the victory you were born for. You want clarity, peace, vision, then stop looking outward. Turn inward. Face yourself. Not the version you present to the world, but the unguarded self, the wounded self, the fearful self, that part of you that still carries memories that were never healed, that still believes stories that were never true. That part of you hidden beneath strength and silence must be acknowledged. Because healing is not found in pretending you are whole. Healing is found in honoring the pieces of you that once broke and still chose to continue. This is the work most avoid, because it demands truth. It demands stillness. It demands the courage to sit with your pain and not run from it. But hear me, your pain is not your enemy. It is your passage. Your pain holds the map to your liberation. Every fear you hold, every self-doubt, every time you silence your voice, hold back your light, betray your worth, it all leads to one truth. You have forgotten who you are. And the war within begins the moment you choose to remember. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. Of them, you are not your emotions. You are the space they move through. You are not your past. You are the architect of your becoming. So stop clinging to identities that no longer fit. Stop protecting limitations that were never yours to carry. Your mind was never meant to be a prison, it was meant to be a throne. But a throne must be claimed. And you do not claim it with passivity. You claim it by rising up and saying, no more playing small, no more feeding fear, no more living beneath the weight of lies I never questioned. Because the lies are many. They tell you you're not enough, that it's too late, that you'll never change, that others have something you don't. But I'll tell you this, the most dangerous lie is the one that says, stay comfortable. Because comfort is where dreams go to sleep. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your entire life building a cage and calling it safety. You must begin the inner revolt. Tear down every mental wall that keeps you from rising. Ask yourself where. Did this belief come from? Who told me I was not capable? Who taught me that survival was more important than living fully? And more importantly, why have I believed them? Because once you question it, it loses its power. Once you shine light on the shadow disappears. You are not here to live in survival. You are here to expand, to evolve, to awaken. But evolution demands in a battle. It demands you choose faith when fear screams louder. It demands that you choose healing when hiding would be easier. And it demands that you choose vision over the familiar. This isn't just about mindset, it's about soul set. It's about reshaping your very relationship with yourself. You must train your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. You must reprogram your thoughts like a master craftsman. Because every thought you allow to live in your mind plants a seed in your future. And your mind does not care whether that seed is poison or promise, it simply grows what you feed it. So feed it with truth, with vision, with words that lift, that empower, that awaken the boldness inside you. Yes, there will be resistance. Your old self will fight for survival. The wounded version of you will try to keep you small. But you, your highest self, you must rise. You must become the calm in your own storm, the light in your own dark, the warrior in your own war. And you do that by showing up each day, even when the storm rages, especially when the storm rages. And do not fear failure. Do not fear the fall, because every time you fall and rise again, you are rewriting the story. Every time you choose growth over fear, you are rewiring your destiny. This is what inner mastery looks like. Not perfection, but persistence. Not ease, but embodiment. The ability to sit with your pain, breathe through it, and still choose your path with clarity and conviction. Most people never win the war within because they never stop running. Running from silence, running from stillness. But silence is not your enemy. Stillness is not your enemy. They are your teachers. In silence, you hear the whisper of who you truly are. In stillness, you feel the fire of what you are meant to become. Let the fire consume every version of you that was born from fear and rise from the ashes in truth. You are not weak for feeling. You are strong for facing. You are not broken. You are awakening. And every war within you, every cry, every ache, every moment of doubt is an invitation to remember. You are not here to survive your life. You are here to transform it. But that transformation begins not with the world, but within. So take a breath. Go to the mirror. Look into your own eyes and say, I will no longer abandon myself. That is how you begin. That is how you win. You align. You commit. And then you move with a soul that knows it was born to conquer. When you master your inner world, the outer world will bend in your favor. Win the war within and the rest will follow. Becoming your own standard. You were not born to fit in, you were born to become the measure others rise to meet. There comes a time in every person's life when they must stop looking sideways. Stop comparing. Stop measuring their worth by someone else's timeline, someone else's approval, someone else's definition of success. That time is now. You see, the moment you begin to build your life based on what others expect, you lose touch with what you were actually made for. And yes, you were made for something far greater than imitation. You were made for impact. But to make that impact, you must become your own standard. Let others rest. Let them wait. Let them follow the crowd. You must lead yourself. You must rise, not because someone is watching, but because your soul demands it. Because there is something sacred inside you, some calling, some truth, some unique spark of brilliance that no one else can replicate. And if you spend your life trying to measure yourself by someone else's path, you will never blaze your own. That is not living. That is slowly erasing yourself, one compromise at a time. You must understand excellence is not achieved by comparison. It's achieved by calibration. You don't look out to see if you're doing enough. You look in, you check your alignment, your effort, your integrity. You ask, is this who I want to become? Not do they approve? Or am I ahead of them? The ones who rise, truly rise, don't do it for applause. They do it because they've tasted mediocrity, and it made them sick. They've worn the costume of conformity, and it suffocated their spirit. So they shed it, they walked away, they burned it to the ground and started again, not with noise, but with truth. There's power in becoming your own standard, not arrogance, not ego. Power. The kind of power that comes from knowing who you are and what you value, from having the courage to say, this is my path. I will walk it alone if I have to, but I will not abandon it, because once you claim that level of self-respect, everything changes. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop living for validation. You begin to make decisions rooted in vision, not desperation. You start waking up earlier not because someone told you to, but because you know your mission deserves that energy. You begin moving with intention not because it's trendy, but because your future requires it. You hold yourself accountable not because someone's watching, but because you are. That's when discipline becomes identity. That's when your actions start matching your ambition. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. Being your own standard means saying no when others say yes. It means pushing when others rest. It means turning inward when the world tries to pull you out of alignment. But that loneliness, it's sacred. It's the silence where greatness is forged. It's the solitude where you begin to hear your own voice again. And that voice, it's the only one that matters. Because when you stop following, when you stop mimicking, when you stop measuring yourself by everyone else, you begin to create. You begin to build something so real, so true, so unshakable that others can't help but take notice. But by then, you won't care if they do. Because by then, you'll already be full full of clarity, full of fire, full of the knowing that you are becoming the person you were always meant to be, not for anyone else, but for you. You must let go of the idea that success is something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who lives it daily. In how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you show up when no one's looking. Set a standard so high that your own past self wouldn't recognize you. Set it so powerfully that your future self smiles every time you move. This is not about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about waking up and choosing to be someone your soul respects. The world will always try to pull you into its rhythm, but you must learn to hear the beat of your own drum. You must train yourself to ignore the noise and amplify your truth. And that truth may not be loud. It may not be dramatic, but it will be clear. And when your clarity is strong, your steps will follow. There's a quiet kind of power in refusing to lower your standards just because others do. A strength in continuing forward when everyone around you has chosen to settle. And it's not about being better than anyone else. It's about refusing to be less than what you were created for. And that difference, that unwavering self-honoring, creates a force of momentum so strong that eventually the world must adjust to your energy, not the other way around. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase approval. You just have to keep becoming, keep rising, keep showing up for yourself. Let your actions be so consistent, so clear, so rooted in purpose that your life becomes the evidence of everything you once hoped to be. And when people ask how you did it, how you became this focused, this alive, this aligned, you'll smile. Not because you were better, not because you were lucky, but because one day you made a decision. You stopped looking for someone else to tell you who you could be. You stopped waiting for permission. You stopped apologizing for your ambition. You drew a line in the sand and said, "This is who I am. This is what I expect from myself. And I will not shrink for anyone." Let others rest. Let them slow down. Let them follow trends and wait for green lights. But you must go. You must keep pushing. Because your standard is not based on comfort. It's based on calling. And that calling will not let you rest, not until you become the version of yourself that your destiny demands. You were not made to follow. You were made to set the pace. And now it's time to run. The courage to keep walking. You do not need the whole path. You only need the courage to take the next step. There's a moment that tests every person who chooses growth. It doesn't come when things are exciting or when victories are fresh. It comes in the quiet, in the slow hours, in the spaces between progress and outcome. It comes when the path grows dim and the future looks far, and the weight of all your effort presses heavy on your chest. It's in that space where doubt grows loud and clarity feels distant that your courage is forged. Not the kind of courage that shouts, but the kind that whispers, "I will keep going." There's something sacred about continuing, something holy about walking forward when nothing around you says it's working. That's when most people quit. That's when they turn around, when they pause for too long, when they give themselves permission to settle because the road asks too much. But you cannot afford that luxury, because the dream you carry wasn't planted in you to be convenient. It was placed inside you to change you. Let others take breaks. Let them wait for certainty. Let them rest in the valley. But you must keep climbing, not because you're stronger, not because you have all the answers, but because something in your soul refuses to stop. And that's something, that quiet fire, is your lifeline. It's your compass when the map is unclear. It's your heartbeat when the noise of the world tries to drown you. Hold it close. Let it lead. So many people are waiting for a sign to keep going, for the door to open, for the fear to fade, for someone to give them permission. But hear me. The sign is the ache in your soul that won't go away. The door is built by your consistency. The fear never fully fades, but you get stronger. And as for permission, you don't need it. You never did. Your calling didn't come with a backup plan, it came with a burden. And that burden is sacred. It's the responsibility of becoming who you were designed to be. You won't always feel brave. You won't always feel ready. But courage isn't. The absence of fear, it's moving forward with it, holding its hand if you must, but never letting it steer. The strongest among us are not those who never waver. They're the ones who shake, who cry, who bend but never break. They walk through the fire not because they love pain, but because they love what's waiting on the other side. You must learn to walk even when your legs tremble, to speak even when your voice cracks, to show up even when no one sees you. This is the quiet courage of the builders, the leaders, the warriors, the ones who don't just dream, they do, who don't just wish, they work, who don't just start, they finish. There will be days when the results feel invisible, when the journey feels circular, when it seems like everyone else is ahead of you. But remember this, the deepest growth is often invisible. The roots grow in darkness. The foundation is laid in silence. And when the time comes, what you've been building will rise so quickly. The world will call it sudden success. But you'll know the truth, it was years of silent courage, of choosing to keep walking when quitting was easier. You must stop, expecting the process to feel good all the time. This journey, this transformation was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be worth it. Pain is not a sign you're off track. Often, it's a sign you're on the edge of breaking through. Growth will cost you comfort. It will ask for your fears. It will demand your consistency. But in return, it will give you everything comfort never could. Self-respect, freedom, purpose, power. And power is not loud. Power is not ego. Power is that stillness within you that says, no matter what happens, I am not turning back. That's who you're becoming. That's what this walk is shaping in you. Every challenge is refining your character. Every delay is teaching you trust. Every failure is forcing you to rise stronger than before. This path is not punishing you, it's preparing you. There are no shortcuts to becoming, no fast tracks to greatness, just one brave step after another. Some days will feel like leaps, others will feel like crawling. But as long as you don't stop, you are winning. As long as you keep showing up, keep learning, keep moving, you are rewriting your life. Stop asking, how much longer? Start asking, how much stronger can I become today? Stop wondering if it's working. Start wondering, what is this shaping in me? Because success is not just a destination, it's a byproduct of who you become in the process. And you, my friend, are becoming someone unstoppable. So breathe, reset, and keep walking. Not because it's easy, but because you've come too far to go back. Not because you have all the answers, but because you finally trust yourself to figure it out. You were not called to convenience, you were called to courage. You were not built to break, you were built to rise. And if no one else sees your effort right now, if no one celebrates your progress, let me say it to you here and now. I see you. I honor your steps. And I promise you this is not the end. This is the becoming. This is the part that will be talked about one day. The part where you kept going when it would have been easier to quit. And that story, that testimony, will be the very thing that lights the fire in someone else's heart. So walk on, head high, spirit grounded. Keep walking until the ground beneath you turns into a road. Keep walking until the fog clears. Keep walking until your doubt becomes discipline, until your fear becomes fuel, until your vision becomes victory. You may not have the full map, but you have the courage to keep moving, and that is more than enough. The price of your becoming. You will never live a life of freedom until you're willing to pay the full price of your transformation. There is a cost for becoming who you were truly meant to be. And that cost is not paid in comfort. It's not paid in ease or in applause. It's paid in quiet moments of sacrifice, in the hard decisions no one sees, in the relentless pursuit of a vision that sometimes only you can feel. Becoming is expensive. It will cost you your excuses. It will cost you your comfort zone. It will demand your tears, your time, your transformation. But hear this, the price of staying the same is far greater. Let others settle. Let them take the bargain of mediocrity. Let them choose what's easy, what's known, what's safe. But you, if you've heard the whisper in your soul, if you've seen the glimpse of who you can become, then you must be willing to pay the full price, and that price is all of you. You cannot become the person you were born to be while clinging to who you were. You must let the old self die so the true self can rise. You must surrender your past limitations to step fully into your future liberation. This is not a transaction of logic. This is a transformation of identity. The moment you say yes to your next level, everything that is not aligned with it will begin to fall away. Relationships, habits, distractions, anything that belongs to the old, you will resist your evolution. But let it go. Let the old fall. You cannot carry dead weight and soar at the same time. People will not understand your urgency. They will question your discipline. They'll say things like, "Why don't you relax?" Or "Why are you always pushing?" But they don't know what you've seen. They haven't felt the fire that burns in your chest every time you settle. They haven't walked with your vision. They haven't heard the late-night conversations between you and your future self, the ones where you promise that you won't die with your potential still locked inside. And so, you pay. You pay with your time. You pay with your focus. You pay with long nights and early mornings. You pay with missed parties, turned off phones, and the silence of sacrifice. But what you get in return cannot be bought. Self-respect, purpose, clarity, alignment, freedom. You no longer live from the outside in, but from the inside out. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. There is no halfway transformation. You cannot dip a toe into greatness. You must dive in, completely submerged, burning the bridges that lead back to who you used to be. You must choose the path that terrifies and excites you at the same time, the one that doesn't guarantee anything but growth. Because that path, though steep and uncertain, is the only one that leads to the version of you that lives without regret. You don't get to bring everything with you. There are beliefs you must bury, patterns you must shatter, identities you must outgrow. And yes, it will hurt. Growth always does. But so does staying small. So does waking up in a life that doesn't match your soul. You have to ask yourself, which pain will I choose? The pain of discipline and sacrifice, or the pain of regret and unfulfilled potential? Because every choice you make is shaping you. Every time you say not today, you delay your own liberation. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, you hand over another piece of your power. You don't need more time. You need more honesty. The truth is, if you're not willing to pay the price, you don't truly want what you say you want. And that truth, it hurts. But it also frees you. Because once you own it, you can change it. You were not made for average. You were not designed for limitation. You are a miracle in motion, a masterpiece becoming, a force that the world has not yet fully witnessed. But you must decide if you will continue living as a whisper or rise as a roar. You must decide if your dreams are worth more than your distractions. If your calling is worth more than your comfort. If your purpose is worth more than your pride. There's no pretending on this path. You can't fake hunger. You can't fake consistency. You can't fake becoming. Either you're all in or you're not in at all. And if you are all in, then you must learn to love the fire, to bless the burn, to see every setback not as punishment, but as purification. Because the fire doesn't destroy you, it refines you. It melts away who you're not until all that remains is who you truly are. You will lose things on this path. People may fall away. Old identities will crumble. But what you gain is eternal. You gain inner peace. You gain divine alignment. You gain the courage to walk through life knowing that you are no longer pretending. You are living real, living bold, living free. This is your R. Your becoming is not some distance someday, it's now. And you already know what to do. You've always known. So stop waiting. Stop wondering. Stop wavering. Lean into the fire. Walk toward your fear. Pay the price. And watch what rises from the ashes. Because once you step into this level of truth, once you pay in full, nothing can be taken from you. Your confidence becomes unshakable. Your power becomes undeniable. Your presence becomes unforgettable. And you no longer ask for your place in the world, you take it. The world doesn't change when you get what you want, it changes. When you become who you were born to be, so pay the price and rise. The unshakable self. The ultimate power is not what you conquer in the world, it's who you become when nothing can conquer you. There comes a time when you stop chasing, when you stop proving, when you stop asking the world to give you what you were always meant to claim. And in that moment, something shifts. You stop seeking power from outside circumstances and you begin to embody it. You become the storm, not the one hiding from it. You become the root, not the one swayed by the wind. This is the birth of the unshakable self. And once it arrives, everything changes. You see, you were never meant to build your life on external things, because what is built outside can always be taken away. Money fades, titles shift, people leave, even the body changes. But what you build within your character, your vision, your discipline, your peace, that becomes your kingdom. That becomes the ground you stand on when the storms hit. And storms will come. Life will test you. It will try to break you. But when you've built yourself from the inside out, nothing can touch you. You no longer panic when people misunderstand. You no longer beg for opportunities. You no longer chase after approval like a starving animal. You simply walk with clarity, with authority, with a peace that says, I know who I am. And that is enough. That is freedom. That is the reward of everything you've endured, the fire you walked through, the pain you processed, the doubt you burned away. You became someone who can't be moved. But becoming unshakable doesn't mean becoming hard. It doesn't mean coldness. It means depth. It means being so rooted in truth that nothing artificial can tempt you. It means walking into any room and not wondering if you belong, but knowing that your energy brings value the moment you arrive. It means standing alone, not in loneliness, but in power, because you no longer fear solitude. You've walked with yourself long enough to realize your own company was never empty. It was sacred. This level of self-mastery is not given, it is earned. It's earned through the battles no one saw, through the nights you cried and still chose to rise, through the mornings you got up when your soul felt heavy, through the decisions you made when no one would have blamed you for quitting. It's earned by being faithful to the vision, even when the results were invisible. It's earned by becoming your own guide, your own voice, your own fire. And now you are that fire. You don't need to scream to be heard anymore. Your presence speaks. Your peace speaks. Your alignment speaks. You move differently because your validation is internal. Your approval is spiritual. You have stepped out of performance, out of needing to impress, out of needing to be accepted. You have stepped into authenticity. And that is a force this world cannot touch. You don't react, you respond. You don't seek attention, you offer presence. You don't wait for opportunity, you create it. And when people ask how you got here, you'll smile. Because they didn't see the inner mountains you had to climb. They didn't see the emotional wars you had to win. They didn't see how many times you broke, but chose to rebuild again stronger, quieter, more whole. You are not who you used to be. And that is a quiet miracle. Because the greatest success is not in what you possess, it's in what you've released. You've released the fear. You've released the shame. You've released the addiction to chaos, to validation, to being everything for everyone. And what remains now is you, pure, focused, whole, not perfect, but powerful. This is what happens when you stop abandoning yourself. When you stop betraying your inner knowing just to make others comfortable. When you decide that peace is more important than performance. That integrity is more important than image. That purpose is more important than popularity. You begin to live from a center that doesn't shake, from a truth that doesn't bend, from a power that doesn't fade. Don't let others run from themselves. Let them numb their pain, distract their days, chase the next thing. But you have chosen the higher path, the one that costs more but gives more. The one that takes longer but leads deeper. The one that tests every fiber of your being but awakens every ounce of your greatness. And now here you are, old, grounded, ready, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. Not because the storms stopped coming, but because you became the storm's equal. You became the answer to your own prayer. The proof that transformation is possible. The evidence that no matter how far you've fallen, you can rise. So from this place, speak life. From this place, build things that matter. From this place, serve not from a place of lack, but from overflow. You no longer need to rush. You no longer need to chase. You simply show up as you are, and that is more than enough. That is power. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your leadership, of your legacy, of the impact that only you can make. Because now you are not acting. You are not faking. You are not waiting. You are walking in alignment. And that is the most powerful way to move through this world. You are unshakable. And nothing, not fear, not failure, not the past can. Take that from you now. If this final message has stirred something deep in your soul, comment unshakable below, like this video, and subscribe to Unlocking Wisdom. You were never meant to live a life of survival. You were meant to lead a life of power.